Have you ever felt it? That shift in the air, that subtle change in tone. Right after you started to find your strength, you were calmer, more confident, less reactive, more focused. But suddenly, someone who once praised you becomes uneasy, then critical, then chaotic. When a narcissist senses they can no longer control you, they do not simply walk away. They launch what is known in dark psychology as a final manipulation assault. It is calculated, strategic, aimed precisely at the parts of you that have grown. Today, we are going to dissect that final move, and more importantly, explain the psychological mechanisms behind it. You are about to see what narcissists do when your strength becomes their deepest fear. At the core of narcissistic psychology lies what Carl Jung called the inflated ego. This is not ordinary confidence. It is a fragile, exaggerated identity built to cover deep-rooted inferiority. Narcissists survive by projecting dominance, not because they feel powerful, but because they feel profoundly powerless. Their self-worth depends entirely on control. And they construct that control by feeding on others' attention, confusion, and self-doubt. You, in their world, are not a person. You are a resource, an emotional supply. Your validation is their fuel. Your uncertainty is their leverage. But something shifts when you begin to heal. You stop seeking approval. You begin setting boundaries. You become psychologically stronger than they are. This triggers what Jung described as the power inversion crisis. They are no longer above you in their fantasy hierarchy. Their inflated ego begins to collapse. And they respond not with retreat, but with retaliation. The first tactic is not rage. It is manipulation disguised as feedback. You have changed. You are cold now. You used to care. Now you are selfish. All this self-improvement is making you arrogant. This is called strength shaming. It is a psychological attack aimed at your progress. Why? Because your healing reveals their failure to grow. Your independence threatens their dependency model. So they must twist your progress into a flaw. They will take what you are most proud of, your ability to say no, your self-trust, your calmness, and reframe it as betrayal. If you set boundaries, you are labeled distant. If you speak directly, you are called aggressive. If you walk away, you are accused of abandoning them. This is not feedback. It is a precision strike, designed to confuse your moral compass and reopen your emotional leash. When shaming fails, they activate the next weapon, nostalgic manipulation. They do not fight your new self. They seduce you with the old one. Remember how close we used to be. You were so much lighter back then. Things were better before you changed. This tactic uses what Jung referred to as symbolic regression. It pulls your memory into idealized past patterns, a time when you were easier to dominate. It paints the previous dynamic as peaceful, when in reality, it was passive submission. They do not miss you. They miss the controllable version of you. The agreeable, unbound, easily influenced version. And if you are not vigilant, you will start missing that version too. Not because it was healthy, but because it was familiar. This is psychological time travel, pulling you backwards through memory to undo your progress. The only true defense is awareness. And awareness begins with naming the tactic. When you hear strength shaming, Label it. When nostalgia hits, recognize the pattern. When a crisis arrives during your breakthrough, pause and examine the timing. Carl Jung emphasized the concept of differentiated compassion. This means you can feel for someone's pain, without assuming responsibility for solving it. You are not cold for saying no. You are clear. You are not selfish for protecting your energy. You are strategic, and most importantly, when you maintain your boundary despite the chaos, you are proving that their power over you was always an illusion. Your job is not to rescue the narcissist. Your job is to rescue the part of yourself that once needed them. Let us be clear, a narcissist's desperation to control you is not a sign of love. It is a sign of fear. They fear your independence. They fear your clarity. They fear your refusal to play the game. Because your strength reflects everything they abandoned: authenticity, growth, responsibility. And so, when they deploy these dark psychological tactics, you must remember this: you are not being cruel. You are being conscious. Their tactics only work when you forget who you are. But the moment you name the manipulation, the illusion shatters. You no longer exist in their orbit. You become immune to the gravity of guilt, and that is the beginning of true psychological freedom. Live there. Stay there. They have lost their grip. Now you hold the mirror.